Uh, that was a weird. Hi. Uh, yeah, it's been a minute. And by a minute, I mean like a month and a half. Jeez. To be honest, I was wondering if I was ever gonna do this again. Not that I wanted to let you guys down, just that I wasn't finding the time, and honestly, I wasn't thinking of things to say. Ow. Um, yeah, it's raining a little bit right now. Yeah, well, um, I've been here for almost a month. Overseas, way different time zone, like a 14-hour difference. Yeah. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able. Well, I will be able to upload this tonight, I think, but it's gonna cost a decent amount of data, and I was definitely conserving it at first because I do have a limit now. I was definitely conserving it at first, and now I have kind of gotten into the swing of not conserving it because I ran out of the stuff that I downloaded on unlimited Wi-Fi and data. I've been watching a lot of movies recently, which has me feeling a lot of different things, you know. It'll dry off. Probably should not lean on that too heavily. Probably should have closed my bedroom door. That's... Nah, it'll be fine. Yeah, so yeah. Well, I've watched a lot of movies. It's made me feel a lot of different types of ways. Some of that is just hopelessness. You would think that a lot of movies, with hopeful endings and such, wouldn't make you feel hopeless. But, yeah. It's a complex wave of emotion. Not sure how to feel right now. And also, I haven't done that much cool stuff since I got here, which is partially my fault. I'm not even halfway done here, this isn't even half of the time. Haven't been to the beach as much as I wanted to be, which is sad, but I'm not even halfway through, so, still got plenty of time, and, I'm looking into travel plans, a lot of places to go and see. So, I should know tomorrow night an exact date for when that starts. And honestly, I probably should document a little bit of that, just traveling around. I haven't done much of that here yet, so not much of that to document thus far. But yeah, no, it's been a long time. So hi. Somehow, I've been getting a lot more sleep than I used to, and I don't feel much better. Like I'm going to sleep at midnight usually now, and I'm waking up at 8:30, 9, sometime. Yeah, I went to bed last night at 1, which was a lot. I haven't for a while, and I got up at 10 a.m. So I've been getting consistently 8 hours of sleep. Which, sounds like normal, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like it's doing anything to help. So there's that. Sorry if I got worse at this somehow in my over a month of not doing it. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of exploring to do, and I'm going to. I haven't really gotten to take advantage of any of the beneficial parts of being here, which is sad. But, you know, I'll go out, I'll do fun things, I'll do cool things. Eventually. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just difficult, you know. Difficult to make those plans, difficult to go out. Difficult to, you know, transport myself on my own. But you know, it is what it is. And yeah. So there's that. I don't know, man. I've been feeling. How do I put this? Like, even when I get what I feel like I want, I'm not gonna be doing great, or it's not gonna last. Which obviously nothing lasts, you know, nothing's permanent, everything fades, everything, you know, goes away, everything dies. But it's just like, what happens when I'm not lonely anymore? That comes with a whole other set of problems that I'd welcome at this point. What happens when I have the freedom to go do what I want all the time? Or, you know, I'm being a bit vague. I don't know. I just feel like I have all these things, you know, trip aside. Because I've been, you know, been here for a while. And this thought process has nothing to do with being here. But just in general. Let's say I get a girlfriend, huh? You know, despite all of the happy endings in the media I've been consuming, a lot of the more complex stuff, a lot of the more, you know, deeply emotional movies comes with the takeaway that, okay, say I get a girlfriend, shit, say I get a wife, I don't know, that's not gonna last, or like, you know, you can have everything you want and still not be happy, still not be fulfilled. Is it even about having the right things or the right people? You could have the best person for you. You know, they could leave. You could leave. You know. I don't know. I've never felt like living's a waste of time. I've never felt like everything we do is futile. Because it's not, but, you know, I haven't lived that much. I don't know what it's like over 3 decades. I don't know what it's like to try and maintain yourself and your relationships with others over 3 decades, 4 decades, and to be honest, I'm worried. I don't know, I guess I'm a little scared. because there's all these things that I want, you know. I want to, I don't know, maybe go out, party a little bit, you know, find new friends, find a relationship, find whatever. But, you know, things stop being fun. People, I don't know if you can, I don't know, I haven't had like really close bonds that have been around for, you know, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, actually, I've had close bonds, and I don't know exactly what I'm trying to articulate. I'm just, people say that nothing lasts and that everything will fade eventually, but what is eventually? Is eventually, you know, in 100 years, or is it tomorrow? I've got really close friendships, and I think that, you know, at least some of them are gonna last for decades. But I don't know, because all that I'm seeing is just the consequences of time. Old people aren't happy. You know, you live for 90 years and you're like, fuck, man, what am I doing? You know, I've been here for 90 years. I'm good. I'm ready to go. I've lived way more than I want to. I've seen that so many times. I don't think I've, you know, and maybe that's just a lack of my ability to see. Maybe that's just, you know, not the majority, but I feel like every 90-plus-year-old I've ever seen has been fucking miserable, dude. You know, you watch your friends die around you. You know, you have lived, you know, like oh shit. Well, my math is correct. I'm gonna be 19 in 5 days. I didn't even realize it was that close. Anyway, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be 19 in 5 days. And then 20 in a year and 5 days. And the point is, living just shy of 2 decades, and, you know, now imagine living, you know, 4.5 times that. Yeah. That's crazy. I don't know. Maybe time moves slowly for me because I'm fucking young or whatever. But I don't know, it just feel like, you know, things that you don't want to last do, and things that you do want to last don't. And parties might be fun. I wouldn't know. I never get to fucking go. But then, you know, over time, parties don't get, you know, the parties don't fade away. You do. You don't want to do it anymore. You know, you're not having fun anymore. A lot of my life is wasted time. I've spent so much time on my phone, on my computer, just eyes glazed over, just rotting. Not brain rotting, just rotting. My whole body. Just in a perpetual state of rot. And when I'm not rotting away watching screens, I'm rotting away thinking. You're like, oh, well, thinking's at least productive. It stimulates your mind. And yeah, when I'm having philosophical discussions with myself, but I've run out of philosophical discussions with myself. It seems weird, this whole idea of making a video diary was partially to get out some of those philosophical discussions, and I had a ton before I started, making videos. All the time. And I don't know if it was just bad luck, bad timing, but I ran out. Not because I ran out of things to talk about, but because I couldn't think anymore. A lot of the thinking I do now is imaginating fictional scenarios. Just fucking thinking to myself about what can be, or not what can be, because it cannot, but what, what a better life looks like. I'm fucking boring, dude. I want to be interesting and cool. I want to go out and hang out with cool people. I want people like-minded. Yeah, I want to meet somebody with the same crazy, insane, manic energy that I have. If such a person exists. But I ran out. I don't know why. It's gotten so much harder to feel lately. It's gotten so much harder to think. I haven't done more, video watching. I do a pretty even balance between media consumption and thinking. But my thinking may as well rot me as well, because it's not anything productive. It's like, okay, well, now this scenario with this person, this and fucking, I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining myself as somebody who can actually, get into a relationship with somebody, because he's not a socially anxious fucking coward. And I've gotten better about that. I have. Before, I couldn't approach a stranger for shit, and now I can approach a stranger and probably feel some physical symptoms of anxiety while doing it. But it's not like I can't breathe in those instances, because that's a real thing that happens to me when I get anxious. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine one time, right? And, I was talking about anxiety, and I'm like, oh yeah, doesn't it suck when it, like, literally takes the breath out of your lungs, and, like, sometimes, makes you feel like you're having a literal heart attack. And, sometimes it just, puts you in immense pain. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I have anxiety sometimes, but I've never had that. And I was like, oh, fun. I guess I got the fucking uber mega anxiety, the fucking homicidal kind. But I can breathe when I talk to strangers sometimes now. But I don't even know. honestly, how the fuck I think that I would be able to approach somebody romantically. Because when I'm talking to a random person nowadays, it's like, hey, what's up? You know, how are you doing? You know, and strike up a conversation about something. You know, something, whatever. I, randomly approached some guy at college, fucking stuff. I don't know. It was a scholarship competition. That's what it was. I randomly approached some guy and his dad who were having a moral or like ethical debate, and I weighed in. I don't remember what it was about right now. But I weighed in on that. Or a different scholarship competition, same school. I approached some people randomly, and I listened. Like I sat at their table for lunch, and I listened a little bit, and we were talking about childhood shit, stuff that had happened to us, and I proudly told them the story of the time that I got expelled and then unexpelled, because it's probably one of the most interesting things from my childhood, honestly. Most of my so I was homeschooled. Have I ever mentioned that here? Probably. I've mentioned that here. I'm fucking brain dead, dude. Anyway, I've mentioned that here. But yeah, I was homeschooled, and it started in 3rd grade because I got expelled and then unexpelled from a private school when I was in 3rd grade. First month of my 3rd grade year, I may or may not have brought a pocket knife, and I may or may not have told the psychiatrist that it was with intent to threaten a bully. Have I told this story before? Dude, I have no fucking clue. I don't have a lot of stories to tell about myself, so maybe I did tell the story. But, yeah, basically the reason that, there was this bully in the first place, it was a problem that had been going on for years, and, the school said you were expelled, and I remember that pretty explicitly because I had a conversation at a dinner table about how I was expelled. But then turns out I wasn't really expelled because, the entire faculty of the school had let that bullying problem persist for, 4 or 5 years. And so I am legally allowed to go to private school. Not that it fucking matters, because I graduated. But yeah, no, for a brief period, I believe I was, or I guess legally, I don't think legally is the right term, but I think for a brief time period I was blacklisted from private schools. Regardless, I then became homeschooled. My mom was considering it my 2nd grade year. I begged her not to because all my friends, most of them not really my friends, all of my friends were in the private school, and I didn't want to leave. I'd known these people for 5 years, and, it wasn't something easy for me to let go of, and so I begged her to stay, and then, I got removed by my parents and not by the school. And then I became homeschooled. And for the first few weeks, homeschooling was dope. My mom took me to a bowling alley on a school day and was like, this is fucking PE. And I was like, fuck yeah, bruh. Then I did a bit of schoolwork. I had books. Actually, my brother one time, more recently, I think within the last year or two, tried to pass off one of my old math books. It was a composition book filled cover to cover with math. and he tried to pass it off as his. And I was like, bro, that's my... Because, you know, my mom got these big old fucking math curriculum books. I don't even remember doing that much math, but apparently I did. So I got through the rest of elementary school fine, I think. But, like, the entirety of middle school was just me watching YouTube. Literally. Literally, I was assigned shit, and, like, you know, I did some of it, I think. But, like, whenever I got the chance, always would be on YouTube. I would literally have YouTube in other tabs, and, like, whenever my mom came around, I'd switch to them, and I'd do anything I could to just, you know, not do the schoolwork. And when I got to high school, I was wholly unprepared for anything, because I didn't do anything. And I didn't barely graduate, like I'll sometimes say, but I made it way harder on myself than I needed it to be. And that's been my problem. That's why my life is so fucking boring, dude. Sometimes I think maybe I would have had a better time in high school, because I would have had, you know, more friends. Like, not saying that I don't have friends or that I didn't have friends. I've had a decent amount of friends from a bunch of different pools my entire life, but, you know, high school is, especially high schools near me, just a lot larger of a place. And, you know, despite my inability to interact socially with people, I'm an extrovert hardcore. Like, I think that the fact that I am by myself for the most part here, and the fact that I'm a lot of the time by myself when I'm back home, it just compounds, and it makes it worse all the time. Because I don't know, dude. The longer I'm alone, the harder it is for me to find the strength to not be alone. A lot of people get their strength from being alone. A lot of people get their energy and their ability to be around people from just quietly recharging. Nah, my mom, you know, she describes herself as an ambivert. Like, sometimes she's an introvert and sometimes she's an extrovert, and it just depends on the occasion. Not me, bro. For a time, I thought I was, mainly because of the fact that I was so socially anxious. I was like, well, I must also be kind of an introvert. No, I don't get any strength or any energy from being alone. And I think that that's a lot worse, because it's easy to be alone. It's easy to find yourself by yourself. And some introverts have people in their lives that just drag them out, and they get really downtrodden, and they get really, and I'm not saying that it's, impossible as an introvert to just get smacked over and over and over again and have negative energy stores. But it's so much easier to find yourself alone. And I'm alone so much. So often. A lot of the times I'm just apathetic these days. I don't care. I don't care about anything anymore. The only thing I want is to get out there and have fun and hang out with people. And I just don't give a shit about anything else these days. There was this one video I made, and it's probably one of my worst videos. Honestly, a lot of the videos I made towards the end of that first batch of videos were not great. Because I was pressuring myself and forcing myself to make videos even when I kind of didn't feel like it. But one of them was just me talking for like 20 minutes about how exhausted I was and how I just can't. And that's just not an entertaining video. And so, like, this isn't primarily for your entertainment. Like, I'm glad that people gain things from this, but, like, I still think it's a valuable video. But it's not one I recommend that anyone watch. It's just defeated. It's just me completely defeated. And I'm not completely defeated anymore. But this schedule that I've been on, I'll get up at either, about 8:30 to 10. That's my range. That's when I get up. And I'll go and, I'll eat breakfast, I'll have morning tea or whatever. And then, I'll maybe work some for the day. Maybe I'll roam about. I'll look at travel plans because I am actually planning on doing something. Whatever it is I do in the morning, and then I'll probably get out and work in the afternoon, just, different kinds of work all the time, not getting paid for it. It's just, I'm helping my grandfather out, and, I'm not mad about that, but and then I get home, and then I'll chill until like 6, and then I'll eat dinner, and I'll go to bed, and I'll watch a movie. Usually I'll watch 2 or 3 movies, because a lot of the movies range from an hour and a half to 2 hours, and so usually I can get a movie at like 6, and then I'll watch a movie, after that at like 7:30 to 8, and then I'll watch another movie after that at like 9:30 to 10, and I'll usually go to bed at about 11:30 to 12, and that I watch 3 movies a day, dude. And, I'm staying with my grandparents right now, so it kind of makes sense, because I can't drive, not because it's illegal here for me to drive, but because their insurance doesn't cover, like, anyone under 40, I don't think, and, buses don't run that late, to my knowledge. I don't have a ton of money to be throwing around, so I can't be Ubering everywhere all the time, and honestly, they probably don't want me leaving when they're asleep. That's why I'm hopeful for these, for the travel plans. I'm gonna go explore other parts of the country, go to some other major cities. And, yeah, I mean, there are times when I have so much passion and emotion to give, but I haven't felt like that since before I stopped posting. Mainly because my friends haven't been around as much. Now I'm not even in a place where I have friends. But here's the deal. I am gonna go out and do stuff on my own. Maybe I'll find friends. Maybe I'll find people to, party with. Maybe I don't know. But I'm not just gonna wallow in this. Wallowing's not as easy as everyone makes it sound. Everyone's like, oh yeah, welcome to the pity party. Like, isn't this just, this is your solution instead of doing the hard shit? Dude, wallowing is hard. It's hard to stew in your misery all the time. No one wants to be miserable. No one wants to wallow. A lot of people get trapped in wallowing because wallowing means not doing anything else. Wallowing gives you sometimes an excuse or a cop-out, but it's not to avoid doing hard things. It's to avoid doing things you don't want to do. Or maybe that's just me, Maybe wallowing's only difficult for me. Maybe I just can't stand to stew in the pathetic excuse of a person I am. Maybe I just can't stand to just be a fucking puddle. Maybe I never want to be a puddle. Maybe I never wanted to be a puddle. Maybe I became a puddle because of fucking... I'm a jackass. But hey, I'm back-ass. I'm gonna hang myself now. Not really, but holy shit, that was fucking... I'm so lucky they don't have guns here. I mean, like, whatever. Ugh. We're looking into, currently, because I am gonna go travel, we're looking into those, like, fucking, travel things where it's like a bag, and you strap it to your waist, and it's got, like, your money and, your phone and shit, so that if you get robbed, they don't take it. And I want to bring a fake wallet with me in case and carry a few dollars in there. And then whenever, I need to pay for something, I can access it pretty easily, and I am not displaying to everybody my secret more money and my secret phone and fucking whatever. I'm an idiot. But part of me, if I get robbed, just wants to be like, okay, yeah, you can have my wallet. And then throw it for them and then beat their ass. And then take back my fake wallet. But as I'm not familiar with the laws here, I don't know what's considered self-defense. So I probably won't do that. But if they figure out that I have like a travel pouch, I am gonna do my best to not lose that. What are they gonna do? Stab me? No, actually we went up to the coast, to the beach house, and within hours, I don't know if it was, I think it was after, we passed it, and I think we saw ambulances actually going to the scene. Some methed up dude with a gun, carjacked 2 people, and I think killed a person. So, no, if there is a person here who is a criminal, they might have a gun, just because it's a lot stricter than the U.S. in terms of gun law does not mean that, that somebody robbing me is going to have a knife. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. So basically, I'm a whiny little loser bitch at the moment. And I really like to not be that. So, we're just gonna have to see how it goes, honestly. Sorry it took so long for me to make another video. I really hope that I have more to say when I try and record next, because I really didn't have anything to say the last few times I recorded, which was why they were so shit. I hope that you find this not shit, and if you did find this not shit, say, hey, I found this not shit, followed by what you've been up to, because I've been gone for a minute. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it. Yeah. Thank you for humoring me, and though I may be a dumbass, dumbassery is temporary. No, it fucking isn't. What the fuck am I trying to say? I'm not always gonna be like this. And I'm not always gonna be miserable, I hope. I'm not always gonna be happy. Shit, relationships might not last decades. And I might get sick of partying, I might get sick of people, I have no fucking idea, because I haven't seen either of those things. Figuratively speaking. And that's for the people part. I haven't figuratively not seen partying. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just... Fuck it. I'm an idiot.